I think Black masculinity is defined through our various experiences. I It just all depends on the circle that you're running with. If you have a group of people, for instance, some guys from the neighborhood, whoever is kind of a visual thing, if you view them as the hallmark or the benchmark for masculinity, that's gonna kind of navigate or dictate what you view masculinity or what you view how you view being a man. Um, and what's so interesting about that whole concept is if you take an individual, i.e., from the projects or the hood, and you put them in another place, it'll be different for them. But I think through that process they can adapt. For me, example, I didn't come from a upper middle class background, but I knew when I got to a different environment and I saw people that I could identify myself with, like SGA presidents and leaders of organizations on campus, that really shaped and redefined my experience. And through that, it was no longer about the keeping it real, so to speak, or I gotta wear my pants below my waist, or I have to be disrespectful, I have to be aggressive, so to speak. It was about um, changing my attitude and changing how I view the world. And those individuals enlightened me on how to do that. And that was through a brotherhood and a bond. And to kind of wrap it all up, I think that masculinity is defined by your experience, depending on where you are. But the important part about it, it can change. It can be negative in one aspect, but then you can tie that in and it could come together to be something very positive. It became a subconscious thing. It wasn't really a deliberate thing because when I came in the fall of '01, there were a group of students, male and female alike, and they really were powerful. We saw them as the movers and shakers on campus. We saw them as leaders, and that was very unique for me because I was coming from Decatur, Georgia, and that was very people being involved in school. That was something that was kind of different. So those individuals really shaped how I shaped my experience, but more importantly, I saw what they did for me. It was imperative that I reached out and I did that for somebody else. So it became more of a subconscious thing than a deliberate thing. It was almost like a sense of responsibility. And that's really why, I reached out to various people, whether male and female alike. If there was a need there, I would try to reach out and help them out as much as I could. Overall, the Joseph of 18-year-old getting in trouble, um, had some run-ins with the law, drug related, and also braids, gold teeth. That person, I owe it to that person to win. I owe it to the stories of the friends who weren't so lucky to be in the position that I'm in, to continue to press forward and to tell that story, because so many times we think that those people are lost and that they cannot be redeemed, so to speak. But that the Joseph Robinson of 2001 is a testimony that anybody can make that change. And through the masculinity aspect, it was, some of those same rules or same mantras that governed my life back then still kind of shape me now. I believe in being honest at all costs. It's just a different way. You just don't use some of the language that you use. I believe in hard work ethic, but applying it to something that's positive. So that, again, that the person back then still is inside, but is reshaped into a different way. And I use these opportunities to be able to relate to some other people who might not have come from a middle class income or come from a background that had vast opportunities, but it gives me that ability to relate to individuals. It's a very common story. So many times it can we hear about the the tragic stories. We polarize events, somebody dying, or another person falling between the cracks. But very seldom are the stories of the Adeja Alojos, the William Bushes, the William Lathams told, because we need to, the youth need to understand that there is there's a voice out there, and that our stories are similar, and you can be just like this. You don't have to be a drug dealer. You don't have to be what your circumstances are telling you. You don't have to stay in the hood, or you can be anything that you could possibly be. And stories that are like mine are just showing the youth that, hey, it's possible. And a lot of times we just want our voices heard. Somebody was able to listen to me, to hear through, to see through and feel through that frustration that I was feeling, and help me work through those issues. And maybe this tape will reach somebody, or this broadcast will reach somebody to say, hey, it's possible because this man did it. And countless other African American men are dealing with the same thing. We're telling the story, and it's time to reshape a generation. It's time to really let them know that we have some great talent out there. To produce a world changer, it's gonna come through sacrifice. The journey of mentorship, the journey of giving back, is not an easy one. Mentorship takes hard work. You're sowing into somebody else's life. You're helping to shape that individual, and a lot of times people don't want to make that sacrifice. And I think in order to really change the world, to continue to create people who are going to manifest change in the United States as well as the world, Black men are going to have to sacrifice. From a personal standpoint, from volunteering with Big Brothers Big Sisters, it was it broke my heart, the fact that you have almost 196 African American men who are on a waiting list in Duval County alone. This is not even talking about the entire country, but they need somebody that they can relate to. And again, the women, they have people volunteers lined up out of the door. But from our side, when it comes to sacrificing of personal time, personal commitment, and not even talking about monetary commitment, just from the time aspect, so many people don't want to do it. And in order to create an environment that's going to change the world, it's not going to happen overnight. We need people who are dedicated to the cause. We need people who are willing to sacrifice. I've sat in my mentor's office countless hours, on the phone with him countless hours. He didn't tell me, "Hey, I can't talk to you. You're dealing with a problem. I'll call you back." No, he was there to listen, and he spent time, not money, time, and that's what we need to reinvest in our youth, especially Black men. We need your time. We need to allocate some time to really sit down to the table with these young guys and let them know that, hey, it's possible. You can change the world.